Tension continues to build between the U.S. and North Korea. The North is accusing the U.S. of pushing the Korean Peninsula to the brink of war. The president and vice president both demanding that the country end its nuclear weapons program and stop launching ballistic missiles.
The era of strategic patience is over. President Trump has made it clear that the patience of the United States and our allies in this region has run out.
North Korea attempted a missile launch on Sunday. It failed. Late today, officials told the BBC that North Korea would test missiles weekly. Dr. Balbina Wang is a visiting professor here at Georgetown University, Northwest D.C. She teaches courses on Asian politics, has worked at the U.S. State Department, was an analyst for the Asian Studies Center at the Heritage Foundation. Thanks very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I was asking you in the green room, is this the Cuban Missile Crisis all over again?
Oh, no, it actually isn't. The Cuban Missile Crisis was a discrete period of time with very, very heightened tensions. We have to remember this has been going on, essentially a crisis after crisis after crisis, for decades. In fact, since the early 90s.
So why here and now does President Trump feel as though we have to do something, that we may be at the tipping point?
Well, it's not really clear why exactly President Trump has chosen North Korea. But the point is that it has been a lingering problem that has confounded every single administration, the nuclear issue specifically, since President Bill Clinton. But remember, too, that the United States has technically been in a state of war with North Korea and between the two Koreas since 1953.
Yeah, if we look at what's going on now, though, what are the options here? I know they're just words, there's some failed testing. What happens from this point on?
Well, words are important. In the last several weeks, the level of tension seemingly has increased, and everybody says this is the most tense it's been on the Korean Peninsula. Well, again, I remember that there have been many, many other tense moments. I think what is different is that this new president has decided to try to establish a new tone, and tone does matter. In fact, the substance of what he has said, what he's saying the policy is frankly not that different from not only President Obama's 8 years, but frankly the 8 years previous to that with President George W. Bush.
Well, if you look at the military strike in Syria, you look at the bomb that was dropped in Afghanistan, that's all part of this tone that you're referring to?
That's correct. It does send much stronger signals. Now, signaling can be very effective and, frankly, very strong, essentially veiled threats against North Korea have also been effective over the decades in deterring or reducing North Korea's aggression.
Where is China in all of this?
Well, unfortunately, the Trump administration has determined, similarly, by the way, to President Obama and previously to President Bush, that China is the key to solving the North Korea issue. I think after 20 years, it's rather clear that China is not the key. It is true that China has relatively the most influence on North Korea, but that does not mean that China can essentially force North Korea to do its bidding.
Well, then it really gets scary. I mean, a lot of people feel as though there's a madman in charge of North Korea anyway, and if China doesn't have any influence over him.
Well, the reason that I'm not so scared, and all of my family live in Korea, is actually because Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, is not a madman. And that country, despite what everybody says, unpredictable North Korea, as if that's part of the name of the country. In fact, North Korea has actually been remarkably predictable over the decades. In fact, it's the least unpredictable country in the region. Its neighbor to the south is undergoing a dramatic and quite astonishing change of leadership. So, no, that country is not unpredictable nor crazy.
So part of our propaganda that he's a madman. People that know him say he's really not a madman. So what is he after? What's the end game for him? What does he want?
It is actually quite simple. The leader wants, certainly, obviously regime survival, but of course every country or regime wants survival. He wants to run North Korea the way, in the unique way that North Korea has its vision of the country. But more importantly, he wants to unite the Korean Peninsula. And he wants to...
We're not going to let that happen.
Well, no, we're not, and we haven't for the last 65 years, and it's been quite effective, actually, from preventing North Korea from uniting the Korean Peninsula.
What are people in South Korea saying about all
well,
this?
Well, and that is the point. You know, South Koreans understand essentially that the United States has played a crucial role. It's been difficult 10, 15 years ago when many South Koreans were beginning to question the U.S. role because it was seen as interfering in the engagement between the two Koreas. But I think North Korea's behavior the last 10 years and its clear decision that it is not going to back down on aggression and its threats with its missile development and nuclear programs, that seems clear that many South Koreans now understand the value of the U.S. alliance and the defense. And that's what Vice President Pence was doing there just today and yesterday.
Got it, okay. Well, obviously we'll be watching, paying attention. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.